Methadone, one of the most popular drugs on the planet. Musicians write songs about it. Methadone is a welcome guest at any party. Today, I'll tell you everything about methadone and show you how it's produced in underground labs. Methadone was first discovered in 1929, initially considered as a potential antidepressant, but due to its strong psychoactive effects, it never gained medical approval. That doesn't mean it was forgotten. It was rediscovered in the early 2000s, around 2004-2006, by whom and where no one knows for sure. The first batches had exceptional pharmaceutical quality, suggesting that a major official pharma companies were behind its comeback. Methadone, alpha-PDP, methylone, MDPV, a whole range of designer substances. They appeared on the market as so-called bath salts. Using them as intended was obviously impossible. But as you might guess, nobody cared. That's how the term flakka became attached to cathinones and pyrovarones. Alright, dear viewers, here we are at one of the clandestine laboratories specializing in methadone synthesis. This particular area here, if you want to call it simply, is the dressing room. More scientifically, it's the so-called buffer zone. This is where lab personnel change into specialized chemical protection coveralls and tighten their respirators with those handy elastic straps. Their regular clothes get sealed into large polypropylene ziplocs, shut tight to keep any contamination out. Advanced labs like this often have small shower cabins where, before slipping back into everyday attire, staff thoroughly wash to eliminate residual odors and traces of reagents. But let's not waste time here. I will risk stepping straight into the lab in my usual suit, though this right here is definitely not supposed to be here. Smoking kills, and in this context, that's not a metaphor about health. It's a literal hazard. We have now entered the heart of the operation, or to use more precise language, the reactor. Take a look at this beauty. It's designed to handle up to 100 liters of reagents, which allows the operators to produce roughly 10 kilograms of final product per day. All the transformations, turning these rather dull and quite toxic liquids into the crunchy crystalline methadone that ends up on some criminal's coffee table, occur right here inside this reactor. Directly above it you can see the lab's lungs, the ventilation system. It pulls out vapors and pumps in fresh air. These flexible ducts are lined with special Teflon coatings, preventing them from degrading into dust after just 2 batches. Everything gets drawn up and expelled, while clean air is supplied from intake pipes below. Such ventilation grids are installed all around the lab, especially in the work zones. And what do we have here? I'd call this the liver and kidneys of any decent lab. This is the vacuum filtration unit, consisting of a Büchner funnel and a Büchner flask. Next to it sits the vacuum pump. It's here into the Büchner funnel that the semi-finished paste is poured. Its color ranges from bright white to pale brown, or the trendy dirty beige, which street dealers love to market as champagne. Just a note, if you see a product labeled champagne, don't imagine a glamorous burst of bubbles. It simply means the dealer is trying to disguise sloppy production with a fancy name. If the product skipped proper filtration, it will contain plenty of residual impurities, often harmful or outright dangerous. No matter what a slick salesman claims, such material can never be considered clean. Under the filtration unit, all the moisture ends up the solvents left after synthesis, plus whatever was poured over the crystals for cleaning. I called the last setup the kidneys, but that was wrong. This is the liver, and these are the true kidneys. Because, much like in our own bodies, this is where the stones form. Only here, they're methadone stones. It's precisely at this stage that the substance gains significant market value, sometimes increasing by a factor of 1.5 or even 2. As the crystals grow, so does the price. Perhaps you're already wondering, so if the product passes every stage of purification, and I'm buying these flawless crystals, does that mean I'm safe? It does not. How harmful is methadone? Well, synthetics and poorly studied compounds are often equally demonized, but the reality is that their danger and toxicity vary dramatically. All narcotics are harmful, but each in its own unique way. On your screen you see a list of popular substances: methadone, methylone, MDPV, alpha PVP. Methadone simultaneously impacts the dopaminergic and serotonergic systems. Dopamine is responsible for motivation and mood. Serotonin, roughly speaking, governs empathy and sociability. In that sense, methadone is quite similar to alcohol. After all, ethanol damages two biochemical pathways at once: the dopamine system and the inhibitory GABA system. That's why seasoned alcoholics lose their brakes so thoroughly all the time. One day, I will dedicate a separate video to the neurobiology of addiction and explain in detail what modern science knows about how these substances corrode the brain. Interestingly, the toxicity of alcohol and methadone is, in fact, roughly comparable. Still, in clinical practice, there have been cases of individuals injecting nearly 4 grams of methadone intramuscularly. This led to a mild serotonin syndrome and a short hospital stay. But after administration of just 1 milligram of lorazepam, the patient was discharged 6 hours later without any lasting harm. Other drugs would never forgive such a mistake. Methadone is a stimulant. It has relatively low intrinsic toxicity and a pronounced psychoactive effect. Potentially, it could serve as a first-line replacement therapy for heavier drugs like alpha PVP, heroin, or cocaine. It may even have therapeutic applications in psychiatry and family psychotherapy, treatment of PTSD in combat veterans, rehabilitation of abuse survivors. Right now, the main candidate for such uses is MDMA. But given MDMA's neurotoxicity, I would suggest the scientific community take a closer look at methadone and its prolonged release forms. One interesting approach: methadone with enteroscale can dampen the compulsive urge to redose by smoothing out spikes in plasma concentration. In this formulation, methadone preserves most of MDMA's benefits without the same degree of neurotoxicity. Just like amphetamine, it could be used to treat psychogenic impotence in men or psychogenic frigidity in women. A single administration has in some cases resolved stuttering and tics. But as I always say, everything has a flip side. Methadone creates a powerful psychological dependence. It induces such bright, positive emotions and initially so few negative consequences that many users simply see no reason to stop. so they take it more often, in larger doses, until it gradually leads to profound hedonistic decay of personality. This is where its treachery lies. Later on, mephedrone can be substituted by modafinil or phenylpiracetam. Both compounds increase productivity and make it easier to recover from stimulant withdrawal. This substance can also be surprisingly useful in family psychotherapy. Under its influence, people can candidly express their grievances and finally articulate everything that has been festering inside without resentment or fear of being misunderstood. And most importantly, they gain the ability to hear each other, to really absorb their partner's words and begin to change. It can also revive passion, the kind you felt during the first week of your relationship. If you, despite all the risks, decide to take this step, remember the consequences. Mephedrone causes hair loss, dilated blood vessels, skin irritation, jaw clenching, worn enamel, and pupils the size of dinner plates. A standard starter kit for any Brooklyn hipster who frequents the Brooklyn Mirage, loves rave culture, and mephedrone in their blood. You'll typically find alcohol, 4-methylmethcathinone, and a bit of cannabis. Meanwhile, their brain adapts. It starts reducing the number of receptors designed to respond to dopamine and serotonin with pleasure and euphoria. And eventually, you must pay for every burst of delight with apathy and depression. All known deaths from mephedrone are associated either with toxic byproducts of sloppy synthesis, for example, DK4 or 4-MTA, which triggers severe allergic reactions, breathing difficulties, arrhythmia, or with combining mephedrone with alcohol or other drugs. Another frequent cause of death is hyponatremia, when users drink excessive amounts of water without electrolytes. In studies on lab rats, mephedrone showed no neurotoxicity comparable to MDMA or methamphetamine, despite inducing higher neurotransmitter release. The secret lies in how quickly the body expels it, especially from the brain. The organism manages to neutralize it before it causes lasting damage. However, if you combine mephedrone with other substances, or prolong the effect with repeated doses, you nullify the benefits of rapid metabolism and turn low inherent toxicity into high practical danger. Its first clearance has another downside. The effect starts abruptly and ends just as abruptly, provoking an overwhelming desire to redose. This is what leads to those multi-day binges that wreak havoc on the body and psyche. Those wild swings in neurotransmitter levels gradually exhaust your reserves, leaving you in profound apathy and depression, and dramatically increasing the risk of suicide. If for any reason you ignore my warnings and continue using mephedrone, you must prioritize restoring your nervous system after each session. Otherwise, you risk becoming the person who ends up jumping out of a window over some objectively trivial problem you blew out of proportion in your mind. How to quit mephedrone. Our body has a universal detoxification system that protects cells from damage by aggressive chemicals and reactive oxygen species. It's called the glutathione system. Glutathione is synthesized primarily in the liver, but in fact every cell in your body can produce it. High glutathione levels are associated with youth and resilience. But age and poor lifestyle deplete these reserves, especially rapidly. If you consume large amounts of sugars, carbohydrates, or hepatotoxic drugs like paracetamol, among the most ruthless destroyers of glutathione are narcotics, especially alcohol. That's why people with destructive habits often look 10 years older than they really are. The best thing you can do for your body after poisoning it with toxins or drugs is to restore glutathione stores. There are two approaches. A course of IV infusions with high-dose glutathione, a course of acetylcysteine, AZC, combined with plain glycine for 16 weeks. Take both substances together during meals, 2 times a day at 100 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Low glutathione levels make you more prone to forming severe addictions. This is one reason why addiction tends to intensify with age and prolonged use. Low glutathione levels make you more prone to forming severe addictions. This is one reason why addiction tends to intensify with age and prolonged use. You may have noticed that some people quit drugs more easily, while others struggle. Besides willpower, intracellular glutathione is part of the answer. Personally, I recommend the second method, because it forces your body to produce exactly as much glutathione as it requires. Our organism, unfortunately, is lazy. If you supply something from the outside, the body simply stops making it on its own. Acetylcysteine, incidentally, is a broad-spectrum antidote. Though you won't find this label in medical textbooks, the term fits perfectly. At doses of 20, 100 mg/kg/day, ACC accelerates the restoration of neurotransmitters in neurons damaged by stimulants, especially cocaine, amphetamines, methamphetamine. No equivalent studies exist for methadone yet, but all evidence suggests a similar effect. Second in line are targeted therapies to restore dopamine and serotonin systems, namely Ladastane and St. John's wort. Take Ladastane for 8 weeks at 50 milligrams daily. It will gradually restore dopamine synthesis back to baseline. This therapy must be supplemented by the amino acid L-tyrosine, available in any sports nutrition store. Take 1 capsule with every meal. St. John's wort is an herbal remedy sold in every pharmacy. It contains a mix of natural alkaloids proven to treat depression more effectively than fluoxetine without its side effects. Brew a strong tea from the dried herb and drink it twice daily for 8 weeks. Very important, never combine recovery therapy with continued methadone use. You will only magnify side effects and risk serotonin syndrome. To avoid the trap of methadone dependence, set a strict rule. Use it no more than once per year, and only for a special occasion. If you ritualize the experience, like celebrating a wedding anniversary, you minimize the risks of addiction while retaining its therapeutic value. In my own practice, I have saved 3 marriages from collapse this way. Strict adherence to my recommendations protected my acquaintances from dependence. It's important to note, they already led healthy, fulfilling lives. No smoking, no alcohol, no drugs. In their case, methadone played the same role alcohol does in our society, a social lubricant. None of them ever felt the need to repeat the experience. Their rescued relationships have since brought new healthy children into the world. That's why I consider this human experiment a success. Don't listen to the chorus of society insisting that addiction is a life sentence. Methadone dependence can be defeated, but I still implore you, do not let it reach the final stage. As Paracelsus once said, everything is poison, everything is medicine. The dose determines the effect. This maxim applies to countless drugs, Nephedrone among them. This white powder, these transparent crystals, with their characteristic aroma, they seduce, they corrupt, and for many of our young citizens, they become the sole purpose of life, leading them straight into the criminal underworld. I know many people who managed to break free, and I also know many who lost their health or their loved ones. And I understand perfectly well that you already know it is dangerous, but if I simply tell you not to use it, you won't. Listen, the best I can do is speak honestly. Share actionable strategies to overcome dependence. Now you know how to escape its grip if it has already wrapped you in its claws. That's all for today, dear viewers. Until we meet again, and take care of yourselves.